Hey, what's up, Crypto Army? I'm Travis, your crypto newbie, bringing you my experiences. You know, I've learned things the hard way. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. None of my content should be viewed as financial advice. If you like all my content offers, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, and turn on notifications so you get notified when I publish new content. It really helps your channel grow and get the content to others that might find it helpful. Today, we're going to take a look at BODAV Token and do a fundamental analysis of this new project, or newish project, as it turns out. So let's dive right in and take a look at the website. So here's BODAV2 token website, and it goes by BODAV2 on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, or BODAV Token. Either one will bring you to this particular token on there if you want to look at the price data. And as you can see, they've got a Certik Audit in the works. So since we've got that right up front, let's go ahead and just jump into that. So as you can see, it's in work. There's not much else we can say about the security audit at this particular point. So Certik is a great place to get an audit done. I mentioned in a previous video that they're backed up for a while. I want to say January was what the Affinity team had said for them to do a Certik audit. I'm not sure if they're in the same situation where it's going to be a while, but Certik audits can take a while because they're very thorough and they do a pretty good job. So it's going to be a little while before we find out how secure this contract is. Now there's a lot of similarity between this and a lot of other projects out there, but they claim in here that they did write the contract from scratch. So they didn't just copy and paste somebody else's contract, which has its pluses and minuses. It's pretty common in the industry to just copy previous contracts, which can be a good way to get a head start on writing a contract that doesn't have any issues, especially if it's already been audited. So writing it from scratch isn't necessarily a good thing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it isn't uncommon to just copy and paste contracts and then change the variables that are going to differentiate you from somebody else. Almost every contract has some level of copy and paste from the previous contracts that have been already out there. Just keeping it real, and that doesn't seem to be a problem. I tend to agree that there's some benefits in writing your own contract, but as a military member, we do a lot of copy and paste so we don't have to redo the exact same work in the exact same way and save ourselves some time. So I'm not opposed to copy and paste as long as it's not a copyright infringement, or if it's a paper that I'm writing for a class. Yeah, you can't do things like that, but when it comes to a contract, I'm not entirely sure. And I've done a little bit of coding, and I love Google because it saves me the writing of the code because it's already out there and I can copy and paste it. So I don't necessarily look for originality in coding because I don't look at the coding that closely in most cases. I've never written a contract, so I'm not necessarily going to know what to look for even if I was. But I'll go look for contract addresses and burn wallet addresses and that kind of stuff in the contracts. I'm familiar enough to do those types of things, but if I'm not necessarily going to identify an issue. That's my kind of thoughts on whether it's been copied or pasted or not. I don't personally have a problem with copy and pasting code. Now, information right off the bat, they've got a lot of good information on here. Aesthetically, it's original, and I do appreciate the originality on a website. I would say that they need some graphics though. It's a little bland in some areas, and it's a lot of words. Sometimes you just want to catch the person's attention. So some people are going to really enjoy this, and some people are going to look for some of those graphics to tell a story with a picture, and sometimes that's effective. Now in this particular instance, you have to have a minimum of 3 billion tokens, which right now is not a problem. If you're going to say that you have to have a minimum of 3 billion, I think you need to put in there a disclaimer of as price goes up, that'll be readjusted, because 3 billion could be thousands of dollars if this token takes off. That's just my assessment of that particular mechanism. I love the frequently asked questions section. It's got some pretty good information on it. They've got their rewards estimator built right into this, so you can already see, depending on how many tokens you plan on buying, roughly what you're going to get back, which is nice. I think that there's other projects that are trying doing the same thing because it's helpful, especially if you're trying to figure out how many to buy and what's your long-term goals for this project, to have something like this. The only thing that I would say here, a difference between the Excel that I've got on the banner to my channel and this, is that you can manipulate some of the data as far as volume and that kind of stuff. This one is more static. It's just based off of probably today's information is what my guess would be. And we'll keep going down here. So I love the number of holders. So you can see right now 5,102 holders. Very new project, sort of. And we'll get to that in a little bit. And then where it's listed. And then it's tokenomics. And this is going to look somewhat familiar. We've seen a lot of these days. Now you get BUSD, so we're familiar with getting Binance Peg USD, especially if you're tracking Evergrow Coin and some of the other ones that are doing that as well. Now I like that they've got the detail on how things are broken up. 12% on orders and 20% on sales. Now, if you've watched my fundamental analysis of Safe Affinity or the Affinity token, I have a concern about 20% because that's a high fee. And the example I used there was, yeah, great, you're getting a whole bunch on your fee. So if I set the fee at 99%, you're going to be thrilled, right? Well, no, probably not. If you bought in at 12% and then to sell you have to give up 99%, you're probably not going to be okay with that. And I don't know what the right number is. I don't know what the maximum people are going to be okay with long term. Maybe it's 20%. 20% isn't uncommon when it comes to like VAT taxes over in Europe. So it's possible that you'll have people that are really interested in and think this is a good buy, 20% fee, but 20% in the US is kind of a lot. So I don't know long term whether this is going to be successful. And I said the same thing there. Now, in the case of Safe Affinity, they came back and said, well, yeah, we can always adjust that lower if it turns out that 20% is too high. And I think that if you're a holder in any of these projects that have some of these fees, you're probably okay with the fees adjusting if it means that it'll get greater adoption long term and be more successful. But that will be my concern for a 20% fee. It's the same for any project I see a 20% fee on. It's kind of high, and I don't know what long-term viability of a 20% fee for a token is. Keep in mind, fees with tokens is a fairly new concept. It really only started in the last year. Before that, it was things like Ethereum, where you had to stake and you had to do other mining rewards and things like that in order to get any kind of reward. The fees built in that rewards back, that's fairly new. It's not known what the consumers are going to say long term at this particular juncture. And to be perfectly clear, I'm not saying that this couldn't be completely successful with 20% fee. I'm just saying there's not a lot of data to say that this is going to be successful or that it's not going to be successful. But 20% fee is high. It definitely encourages holding though. All right, let's check out the roadmap. I always like when they show when things are completed, and this is pretty much just a standard rollout of a token through October. It only launched last month, and we're in November, and they've already completed October, so they're on track. I don't remember hearing anything about a billboard in New York City in Times Square, but I wouldn't necessarily know. I wasn't going looking for this particular token back then. So if we go to Q4 and into 2022, we can see they've got an NFT platform, an NFT gaming, and a swap or an exchange, or maybe a combination of the two. And then you've got a token minter that they're trying to do. And then the lottery is kind of interesting. They talk a little bit about that in their white paper as well. So we'll talk more about that when we get there in the white paper. And a governance platform for voting. So a lot of interesting things on here. A lot of NFTs right now. The gaming. I've seen another project that also has a lottery. So there's some utility here, especially on the NFT, because NFTs are big right now. And if you didn't see my tweet earlier today, the federal government in the US has put out more regulations for NFT taxation, which I think everybody saw coming, because what is an NFT? Heck, they can sell baseball cards as NFTs, and whenever you go to the store to buy baseball cards, you pay tax. So I think we saw some sort of taxation in the future for NFTs, and no surprise, here it is. So check out that, and you can read the article on that. There's still not a lot of information unless you go read the law on it. So there'll be more information coming out exactly what the requirements are, but the article does cover some of the specifics. And as you can see, one of my favorites for fundamental analysis is you've got a doxxed team. That is always a plus because they stand behind their project, especially in the case of this particular project. So this project actually launched back in April initially, and the original development team kind of left town like one day afterwards without a reason for it. So this group of individuals basically took on the project, and that's why you see version 2 for the token as well, because they redid the contract and they've redone a lot of the background for this token to avoid copyright issues, is what they mentioned. So this is a version 2 token for not necessarily a rug pull, but the team just kind of left it there, and it was on its way to slow death because there's nobody running the project. So, but I do like having a docs team, and kind of interesting is they have their own YouTube channel, so you could just go to their YouTube channel to find out more information about their token. And most of it is just how-tos, which again, I like how-tos. So they either watch one of my videos or they had some thought into what kind of people are going to be checking out their token and wanted to make sure that whoever landed on their page would know how to buy and how to use various aspects of the website, which is great for the newbies out there that have never done anything with crypto, because this will walk them through it. And then again, that frequently asked questions section. And then you can see they've got a white paper. Obviously, we already looked at the Certik Audit, the rewards tracker. We'll click on that quick. Now, this one's got more information than a lot of them out there. And I think they did a really good job designing this. They made it their own. It's different than a lot of the other ones that are out there. Now, they do have an anti-whale, which is, you're not going to be able to see. I can't go any further down here. So I'll just read it off. It's 10 trillion buy limit per trade. And there's a sell limit, obviously, of 1 trillion per trade here, as mentioned. They put a lot of good information on here. And I like that. It's a really good rewards tracker. Some other really good information here. They've got a contact method. Fairly new project, and they've already got a contact method, both for marketing and for support. That's a great option. Plus all the social media options. And they've got Discord, they've got Twitter. They've already got Lunar Crush. Now, from this point forward, I'm probably not going to be using Lunar Crush, so I'm giving everybody 100 points. They've changed their website and they've made it a little bit more challenging to get the Galaxy score out of that. And I'm not going to spend the hours necessary to get the level 2 in order to look at the Galaxy Crush. So if they make it a little bit easier to get to level 2, maybe I'll go back to using Lunar Crush. But it's not easy to get to level 2 on their particular website, and not at this particular juncture. So I'm going to stop probably using that for a while. Unless they make it easy again to take a look at that information, I probably won't be doing that. So I'll be looking for a replacement. From this point on, I'm just going to give everybody 100 points so they max it out. That way it's even across the board for how they're being treated, while I look for a replacement for a Lunar Crush score or that Galaxy score. A lot of good information on their website. Let's go back up to the top. The one addition they've got here is the news, so we'll go ahead and click that. And it's basically just updates from the team. It's their website, so it's giving you news updates based off of what's going on. And I like it. So having the news update right there, it tells you what's going on with the project. It's an easy way to get information that doesn't necessarily require a lot of editing on the website. So if they've got something happening, they can post updates right here for whatever they're talking about. And I complain about this quite a bit on other websites, is they don't publish new information for people to get. You have to watch basically YouTube videos to get any information on what's going on. This allows them to do updates to the entire community without having to redesign their website every 5 minutes, which is awesome. Now for the white paper, or the green paper as they call it, it's actually got a lot of really good information on it, and they walk you through kind of the history. So they explain that yes, the team walked away from it back in April, and they basically rebuilt this thing. I'm not going to go through all 30 pages of this thing. It's got a lot of really good information on, but let's focus on some of the utility stuff here as well. They walk you through all the same stuff from the website, more in depth on the buyback and burn, how the rewards works, yield farm staking, lottery games. So you can see they've got a lot of utility planned. So you've got a project that's doxed with a Certik audit that's inbound, and they're doing a pretty good job of giving you information for everything they're working on. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of positives on this particular project at this point. Now, I didn't say this earlier, but they launched with 1 quadrillion tokens, and they burned 30% of their supply. This is on the BEP20 Binance Smart Chain. So again, that's shouldn't have the lower fees, but right now Binance Smart Chain's also got a lot of issues with their buy and sell. So it becomes between, do you want to pay high fees or do you want to continually get failed transactions? It's kind of the situation that we're stuck in between these two networks. And I have a feeling that everybody got tired of the high fees on Ethereum, so guess where they're going? Anywhere else. And Binance Smart Chain is pretty user-friendly for fees, but I think all the increased usage is also causing some scalability issues. Now that we're getting into some of the utility stuff, and I went past the rewards tracker because we already looked at that and you saw what that looks like. A lot of it is going to be announced, but they explain kind of what things are. So if you are new to yield farms, this explains it, which is helpful, especially to the newbie. So let's keep going. And staking pools, kind of the same thing. Now, I think most people know what staking is. Again, for the newbie that has never been here before, that might be beneficial to explain what is staking. Lottery games. I'm curious to see how this works, because you get to part with some of your tokens in order to participate in a lottery. It's an interesting idea. I'm just not sure. I mean, it's not any different than buying a lottery ticket if you think about it. You're parting with some of your cash for the potential of winning. So, I don't know. We'll see. And then NFTs. They've already got one designed, and you can see that they're planning on developing an NFT marketplace down the road. Again, not a lot of information. All we have right now is broad strokes of what they're planning on doing, which is fine. It's a fairly new project. It just came out, like I said, last month or the month before at this point, now that we're in November. And then the token minter. And again, it walks you through a platform to allow anyone to create a new smart contract and launch their own token. There's a lot of different processes out there right now for launching your token, but that's a good addition. It adds some extra utility. And then there's a token locker, a platform to allow LP to be locked for a set period of time. So it's kind of like Shiba Swap if you're following the Shiba token. It's one of the options they've got on their particular swap. And then a governance token, created to allow community members to vote on protocol changes. Again, it's not a locked contract where they denounce ownership. They can make changes. They can modify it. They can come up with new technology in the future. If the 20% seems too high, then they can make adjustments. So let's go ahead and take a look at their price for a second. And as you can see, started off pretty slow, and it launched back in September. I think they said September 22nd. Again, the CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko, they're not going to start showing it to you until it's actually put on their website. And that was in October, so all we've got is October data. We don't know how much it's up since day one, at least not based off these platforms. But you can see we had a pretty big jump back on the 1st, and now we're kind of on a consolidation. So if this is a project you like, it's not necessarily a bad time to buy. And you can see we've had a couple purchases here, pretty good size. And if we look at the 7-day, it's pretty all over the place. So how'd they do? And that's not bad. For a token that's really only been out there for about 2 months, a C's not bad. Let's go through this and we'll talk a little bit about it. So, is the website visually appealing? I do think it is. I think it could use some graphics on it. I think it's kind of bland to some degree. It's got all the relevant information. It's actually really good with the information, but it's just not, it doesn't really catch your eye. But visually appealing, it's new. It's unique. They came up with it, it appears, by themselves, or maybe they hired somebody, but again, I would just add a little bit of graphics to it to kind of spice it up a little bit. I didn't see any spelling, I didn't see any grammar, I didn't see any website errors. The team is listed. They have a contact method. They have a security audit listed. You can click to it. There's no price listed. There's no market cap. There's how to buy. Again, there's no audit score. So let's just say that they came back with a 65. And you can see that we're at a B just when the security audit comes back. Now, again, the purpose of this is it's a high risk. You don't know that there isn't a problem that somebody could exploit and empty all the money out of the contract. That's why these security audits are so important. I kind of feel like as a good regulatory thing that the government could come up with is to say you can't launch a token without a security audit. That would probably be helpful because you really shouldn't. You're talking about something that has millions to billions of dollars inside of it. Now, granted, when you launch, you don't have billions, but you can pretty quickly get into the $100 million market cap in under 45 days, as Evergo Coin showed. So you really should have a security audit before you launch because this is everybody's money. That's the risk without having an audit completed. And you have to weigh that. Do your own research. Again, this has got a lot of good things going for it, especially since they're using Certik Audit. And generally when the audits are ongoing, if the team finds anything that's doing the audit for Certik or any of these companies, they generally let the token know so that they can make changes on the spot, especially if it's a critical or a major issue. So the fact that it's ongoing, assuming that they've actually started it and they're not waiting until January or longer, is good. Is there a roadmap? Yes. Is it current? Yes. Is it unique? Yes. No spelling, no grammar issues. Whitepaper is good. It's current. It's unique. I didn't see any spelling. It's probably one of the more detailed white papers I've seen in quite a while. Probably the most detailed out there was 11 zeros, but it was also pretty technical. But it's pretty good. They have a development team. I did look at their Discord, I did look at their Twitter, and they seem like a professional team. Use case. So they've got a token, no blockchain. So do they have an NFT? Technically, yes. There wasn't any information because they don't have a marketplace yet. They don't have a lot of information about where you would go to get it. And I suspect you can't right now. But do they have one? Yeah, technically they do, but it's more of a picture at this point. So I'm not entirely sure that I would call that an NFT because you're not buying and selling NFTs, at least not from their website, and there wasn't information on where to go to buy it. So I'm still going to say no here, but that's only 1 point anyway. They don't have a wallet right now. They don't have an exchange. They don't have a swap. They don't have a game. They don't really have a software, country, or legal tender. They actually had 5,102 holders, but it's not going to change anything as far as the points there. Again, I'm giving everybody 100 right now for that. They have their own channel for pushing information out there, which is nice, but they don't have a lot of YouTube influencers yet doing videos. There are a couple videos out there. It's a brand new token, and that's sometimes the downfall with doing these things early, and that's part of the reason that they've only got 5,000. They don't really have that community following yet, which means that it's a great time to buy in if you believe in the project's fundamentals. Do they have Discord and Twitter? Yes, they do, and they're pretty active on them. The Discord's pretty small. There's not a lot of stuff in there. It's not really well built out yet. It's kind of, it looks like it was just stood up in maybe a couple weeks because there's just not a lot in there. There's not a lot of people in there. But again, they don't have that many holders either. Now for a Twitter space, they're actually one of the more active on Twitter. For such a young project, they've already got 1,500 tweets. That's not bad. That's actually pretty good for the age of this project. There are some that were a little bit older that only had a few hundred, so 1,500 is a lot of tweets. What's their target audience? You saw they've got a lot of stuff planned between the NFTs and the lotteries. I would say they've got a fairly robust target audience for this particular token. And they're going to have yield farms and staking, and then the NFTs and the lottery. They've got a lot of stuff. So, and then there's also the token minter. So again, that's pretty robust as far as use case. No timelines. Again, their roadmap only went to 2022 and didn't have a ton of information. That's a lot of stuff. So this is a pretty strong score for a token that's only been out for about a month and a half. Is it going to be a drawback that this has been around since April and the April version did so poorly when the team left? Maybe. That might be part of the reason why the holder strength is so small. So this could potentially be a token that takes a really long time to build up a community. And there's another one like this too. Sanshu Inu was a token that came out around March, April timeframe, if I remember correctly. And they had, I can't remember the name of the dog park or what they called it at the time, but they ended up getting hacked essentially, and all the money, or a large chunk of the money, was taken out of that particular system, and all their holders lost the money that was in there. Now, it had nothing to do with the team. It had to do with getting hacked. And the token stuck it out and is still out there, and people are still buying and selling it, but it's at a very small volume, and it's been kind of struggling to get up there. I don't know that this one won't have a similar fate, just because any investors that took a chance on it the first time, probably not going to take a second chance on it. So that means they have to start over and build a community when there is bad information about the previous version of the token. So that can be a challenge for a token to overcome. Can they? Absolutely. If they've got the right utility, the Certik Audit comes back without any problems, it can absolutely overcome all those things. But that's something to consider when you're looking at the fundamentals of this project. That could hamper this one's growth. So if you're looking for pretty quick growth, this might not be it. This could eventually get there. But then again, this has also got that 20% tax that we don't know the outcome of. Those are definitely some things you should consider when you're looking at whether you're going to buy this project or how much you're going to put into it. If you're looking for a lot of payout, this might not be the project you want to put in $10,000 in, because you might not get a return on your investment for a while. But I can tell you that having watched Sanshu Inu for a while, and I did buy some Sanshu Inu back there, Again, it had a lot of negatives, so I didn't put a lot of money into it. Again, it was an F. It was not a very strong project, but they'd already launched some of their utility at the time, which was at that particular moment was more than a lot of other projects were doing. So it stood out in that regard. So I took a chance on it, and I'm up on that particular project, but it took a long time to get up on that project, and I was negative for a really long time. So that is something to consider, is it can overcome that, but even if it does, it may not be that rocket ship to the moon that you're looking for. But this has got a lot of good aspects to it with the doxxed team. They've already got that really high quality Certik audit that they're working on, plus the utility. So this is a really hard one to determine what to do with. In order to earn your BUSD reflections, you have to have 3 billion tokens. And that's approximately $100 at today's current value. So maybe that's your approach, is you buy the minimum. Billions of tokens is a lot, especially on a quadrillion. What are some other quadrillions that we know out there? SafeMoon and Shiba and Evergrow coin. There's a whole bunch of them out there. 3 billion tokens for about $100. How many wish we would have taken advantage of that with Evergrow coin? Because that 3 billion tokens is nowhere near $100 anymore with that token. So you're starting off pretty much at ground level with this particular token, and it's down right now, so this is the right time to buy if this is a token you like. Going forward, I'll try to record some of the AMAs for this project so we can get more familiar with the team. There are some out there you can take a look at. I'll try to do regular updates for this as well moving forward. So if they've got some news that I think is relevant, I'll definitely try to put a video together to cover that in case this is a token you like. And I try to do that for all of them that I review on this channel, but some of them have a lot more news than others, so they get more attention than others. I hope you like this content. Let me know in the comments, is this something you're interested in? And if so, why? What about this token caught your attention? Until next time, stay strong with those diamond hands. Crypto Newbie here to tell you how you can get $2,340 in free stocks. All the links I use in this video are in the description. Sign up for Webull and get 2 free stocks valued up to $2,300. Your first stock is free automatically. Deposit any amount and you get your second stock. Deposit 1 penny and you get your second stock. Total value could be up to $2,300. Generally $5 per stock is what you get. Next we have block fee. Get $10 in Bitcoin just for signing up. But read the fine print. I've got a rewards account. You'll get $40 in Bitcoin, as will I. So you know exactly what I'm going to get and what you're going to get. You do need to deposit $100 to get your $40 in Bitcoin. That's the overview how to get $2,340 just by signing up for accounts.